All right. I think we are live. Go ahead and tell me if there's any issues with how I sound or anything like that. So hopefully this will be good. Waiting for people to join. I know it's an hour earlier than normal. That's okay. I am back. Hello, Sarah. Hello, Kaylin. I am back to my regular routine after next week, for the most part, for the next month until I go to London in a month. 4 weeks from today, I'll be going to London for a short little trip with Abigail. So that will be fun. That is coming up, but I will have 4 weeks of my regular routine, lessons, and all that. And then I will start school after I get back from London. So, hey, Day. Okay, so we are going to talk about how to turn around a bad day. This is actually a listener topic, and I'm going to put it out there. If you have a certain topic that you want to talk about, if I have any experience at all on that topic, we can talk about it. Doesn't mean I'm the expert at that topic, but it does mean that I do know a little bit about it. I'm never going to do a topic that I have no experience in. Um, if I've never dealt with it in my life, let's say it's, how to deal if your child has cancer, or how to deal with abuse, or how to deal with ADHD or something like that. I'm not going to talk about those things because I have no experience in them. But if I have any experience at all in whatever topic you suggest, we will definitely talk about it here. Try to give a little bit of advice. The whole purpose of this channel is to encourage and to exhort. It is not to tear down, it is not to criticize, it is not to give unsolicited advice. It is not to undermine whatever goes on in your home. So if you do something better in your home, by all means, continue doing it. Um, and if your husband wants you to do something different in your home, do what your husband wants. Don't do what I want, because I am not in your home and you are not in my home. So all our homes are going to be different. However, it exists to help Christian ladies that have younger kids that have no idea where to start when it comes to any of this: Christian living, a Christian marriage, a Christian way of raising children. They've never been taught this and they just don't know where to start. So that is why this channel exists, to help women like that. So, yes, Kaylin, I'm very excited that you will be coming. We are experiencing some growth in our church right now, and you coming would just be another person adding to the excitement around here. So I am glad to hear. I cannot wait until you are able to come. We are all looking forward to it. Abigail's looking forward to it. I know you and her are friends. So we are looking forward to when you'll be able to join us all. But, anyways, let's get into the topic at hand, and that is how to turn around a bad day. So we all have bad days, obviously. That's just a fact. Today, we're going to talk about turning around a bad day when it comes to raising kids, and also in our marriage, because let's face it, we can have bad times in our marriage too. We can have bad days. One of us can be off, both of us can be off. It happens, right? If you have a bad day, realize that it's just that. It's a bad day and it's not a bad life. And resolve that tomorrow will be better. Sometimes life happens and it's completely out of our control, but we do steer the train of our emotions and our thoughts and our mindset. And turning around a day that starts out badly can be done. It doesn't have to turn the entire day into a train wreck, basically. So, what are some tips when it comes to having a bad day? Well, number one, while it is a bad day, not a bad life, realize that if you have a bunch of concurrent bad days in a row, you might want to reevaluate the way things are going, the way that you're running things in your life. Um, Schedule, no schedule, sleep, just whatever it is, reevaluate and think, can I change this at all? Is this something that's completely out of my control, such as the kids being sick and that throws their sleep cycle off? Bad things happening, your car breaks down, your dishwasher breaks down, your stove breaks down. Those are bad things that are just going to make a bad day sometimes. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about if you're constantly sleep deprived because the kids have no sleep schedule whatsoever, they're sleeping 5 hours during the day for a nap and then not wanting to go to sleep till 5 in the morning, and they're just up all night wreaking havoc, tap dancing on the kitchen table while you're trying to sleep. That could be a problem. So what I've done is, if my house seems chaotic, if my life seems chaotic, if I'm always stressed out and the kids are always in a horrible mood and the kids are always crying and the kids are always fussing and they're just exhausted all the time, what I'll do is I will reevaluate my sleep cycle with my kids. Anyone that has watched this show for a long time knows how picky I am about sleep and how important it is for kids to get sleep. In fact, this is something that back in the olden days, back in the, I don't know what the olden days would be, okay, 40s, 50s, 30s, 20s, 1920s, whatever. Back then, people understood the importance of sleep. In fact, many times in public school for kindergarten, first grade, second grade, they would have a mandatory nap time. So um, they understood the importance of kids getting good sleep. They would go to bed at 7 o'clock. They would get up at 6 or 7 in the morning. So that being said, if you go to bed that early, you're going to get a good 10, 12 hours of sleep as a kid. And kids need sleep because it directly affects the brain and the way that they grow. And sleep is so important to good growth in those areas. So I would definitely evaluate my sleep cycle with my kids. So um, if, you know, this is just one thing I've always been firm on. So the kids don't run the house when it comes to what time they go to bed. Um, Oftentimes you can't really handle what time they get up. However, you can train them to lay in their beds until a certain time. I did that with my younger kids. They were not allowed to get up. I would tell them they could get up when they could see the sun. And Kelly, can't even say my kids' names right. How many of you do that? Go down the list of names here. Um, Kelly will often say she knows that when she sees the sunlight through the curtains that she can get up. If it's still dark, she needs to stay in bed. So they just know that. But oftentimes, for me, when I had younger kids, one of the things that I did do was I woke up earlier than the kids. And this is really tough for me because I am a night owl and I am not a morning bird. I hate mornings. I would rather sleep in. I love my sleep. I would rather stay up late after the kids are in bed and do my hobbies and then get up later, like when the kids woke up. But I found that oftentimes when you do that, you're just waking up when the kids wake up. You're kind of just thrown into chaos right from the start. So when I had real little kids, I did set my alarm an hour early. I would get up, I would have my coffee, I would read my Bible, and that just put me in such a better frame for when everyone woke up and the chaos started. So that was very important to me when I had littles. Now that I have older kids, I'm not as dead set on this. So my older kids oftentimes see the way that my younger kids are being raised and they complain about it. When I was their age, I never got to do this. When I was their age, when I was their age. Well, it's a totally different dynamic now that I've got older kids and younger kids. So when I had lots of little kids, I had to have my ducks in a row, so to speak, because otherwise I would have lost my mind. And it would have just been anarchy all the time. And I would have been stressed out and I would have been depressed and I would have been anxious. So I had to have my ducks in a row. I ran a tighter ship when I had little kids. Now that I have older kids that I can bark out orders to if need be while I'm dealing with the babies, such as take the chicken out to defrost, go start this, go do this chore, go help me with this, go throw a load of laundry in. And I'm not the only one doing it. It is a little bit easier in that aspect. Um, and even as far as waking up, because even if the babies wake up before me now, and the older kids can help get them a bowl of cereal, get them something to eat, keep them occupied, take them to the bathroom, whatever it is. So when you have older kids, it does help in that aspect. But when I had younger kids, it was very important for me to get my mindset in a good place before the kids even woke up and started throwing me into the chaos of everything, that I would get up early, I would read my Bible and drink my coffee, and then that just helped my mood and the mindset. Also, reevaluate if you're having a bad day every day, all day, how is your school schedule? How is your cleaning schedule? For me, when my house is out of order, I tend to feel like my life is out of order. And we have a smaller ish house. So we don't have a lot of room for like excess junk, excess clutter, things like that. Um, for the longest time, This entire teaching year, my basement was just completely out of control, and I felt like a crazy woman sometimes. So what I would do is I would just avoid not going into the basement because it stressed me out every time I went down there. So about 3 weeks ago, we finally just purged the basement, and we have a bunch of shelving down there. And I even had space open on the shelving because we got rid of so much. Like we literally threw away. I'm like, okay, some of these clothes that I've been hanging on to, I've had for like 15 years. I really don't need to hang on to them any longer. So we threw away all the excess clothes. About the only thing we kept our luggage. We have a little bit of food storage in the basement. I use the shelves to store like the bigger appliances such as like crock pots, my griddle, um, and then Christmas decorations we saved. And that was about it. About everything else, I let one toy box for my kids' toys and everything else went in the dumpster. And for me, when I clean out clutter, that just helps my mind. It helps my mind be at rest. It helps my anxiety. So really reevaluate all those things. If you just feel like every day you're overwhelmed, every day you're stressed out, think what can I do to help improve? What is the root cause of this stress or anxiety, right? So is this causing me to have a bad day every day? Well, then we need to get to the root of it and we need to eliminate the problem. See, I'm like a problem solver. I don't want to just keep um having something bug me over and over and over and over and over again. I want to deal with it. And then that is off my mind. It's like a load off of my mind. So, but yeah, when my house is out of order, I feel like my life is out of order. Also, when it comes to marriage, if you feel like every single day of your marriage is bad, like it's a struggle, your marriage should not be a struggle just to like get along with the person that you married. It should not be a struggle to like your husband. It shouldn't be a struggle to love your husband. It shouldn't be a struggle. The physical part of marriage should not just be this constant struggle. Um, there's some marriage gurus who make it like it's your duty as a wife to like do this for your husband and you should do it whether or not you feel like it. And that always just makes me feel a little sad because when it comes to some parts of marriage, it should be fun. It should be enjoyable. And the physical part of marriage is like that. It shouldn't be just like this chore or drudgery or, it should be enjoyable. It should be something you look forward to. So reevaluate your marriage. Think, how am I talking to my husband? Am I being snarky with him all the time? Am I being critical of him all the time? Am I mocking him? You know, our husbands aren't going to appreciate it if the only way we talk to them is condescendingly, if we're mocking them, if we're making fun of them. Obviously, it's fun to laugh with your husband. And if something funny happens, I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about um, just being condescending and how we treat our husbands. So, am I carving time out of my day for him? Does he feel important to me? Does he feel needed by me? Does he feel loved? Our husbands aren't there just to like bring home the bacon, even though they do figuratively bring home the bacon. Our husbands should be the most important person in our life. I would say our relationship with our husband needs to even be made priority above that of our children because the children will grow up and leave the house, but your husband will always be there. Another thing, too, is that when your kids see the strong relationship that you have with your husband, that's going to, number one, show them how a good marriage works. It's going to show them love in action. Number two, it's going to provide them stability and security. Because if you ask most kids what one of their biggest fears is that their parents will get divorced, that one of their parents will die, their parents will be separated or whatever. So it's definitely in the back of a lot of kids' minds. And when you are having a good relationship with their father, that just brings a sense of peace to the home and a sense of stability and a sense of security to those children. So definitely think about those things. And then, am I listening to my husband? Are we communicating well, or is there something lacking there? We all go through seasons in our marriage, and I have a very solid marriage, and I'm very madly in love with my husband. But I also am not sitting here with rose-colored glasses saying that there's never problems or there's never bad days in marriage because there is, right? Some days he's stressed, some days I'm stressed, some days we barely see each other, some days we'll go sometimes a week or two without barely talking. And when that happens, I know, okay, like we need to fix this. So whether that's we go away for a night, just us two, whether that's, we sit in the hot tub and reconnect and talk for a couple of hours, whether that's, well, not a couple hours in the hot tub, but half hour, at least we have that time, if we sat for 2 hours, we'd be withered like prunes, but, just sitting there for a few minutes, reconnecting at the end of the day, um, you got to make that happen. So, and as women, we know if there's like a dry spell, right? We know if communication's lacking, we know if time together is lacking, different things like that. So, but what do we do when our morning starts out bad? Because it definitely happens. And what I've come to realize with my life being so busy and so crazy, and this summer, case in point, like our house has been Grand Central Station. I'm not even kidding. And we actually have two of our kids talking to significant others right now. One kid's married, two are talking to significant others, the other two adults in the home. So it's constantly like someone's coming over or the family's coming over. We have people visiting our church all the time, and I want to make them feel welcome and have them over. I never in a million years, I did not used to be hospitable at all. And mainly it was because I think because I didn't keep my house in running order well enough, or maybe it's just because the kids were always messing up. I don't know. But my house was not in running order well enough to have people over at the spur of moment. Since I have older kids and they help me a lot more with the cleaning and different things, um, I can have people over at the drop of a hat. Like it would take us maybe like a 10-minute round to just make sure everything's picked up, the floors are swept, maybe go over the bathrooms real quick with some, disinfectant or something. But it would be really quick and we'd get the whole house ready for guests because we kind of keep it in working order the whole time. And that's just something that I've developed and learned as I've gotten older. So now at this point in life, I feel like someone's always staying over, someone's always sleeping over. We always have guests all the time. It's just like a revolving door of people coming in and coming out, going and leaving. And that's fine. I love that. The Bible talks about being hospitable, and it also talks about how we must, pastors' families need to be given to much hospitality. So I take that seriously. I want to always have um, the mindset of my house is open if you want to come over. I want to keep that. So sometimes we will have bad mornings, right? And we have so much coming on. So we have so much coming up that we can't just be stuck in this rut of this is a bad day. Can we just start over, right? We have to get through it and we have to do things. So just realize that it's crazy and roll with it. With me right now, my life's crazy. I was just telling Brother Clive yesterday, we were talking, he was talking about I was telling him about everything upcoming like this year. And I'm just like, I have to take things day by day because my life is so overwhelming with everything going on right now that if I don't take it day by day, I would go crazy. I would be stressed out. I would be anxious. I would be thinking about it. I wouldn't be able to sleep at night because of everything on my plate. So I really do take life day by day. And sometimes I realize it's crazy. I just roll with it. And then mindset is everything. We steer the boat of our emotions. So stop the negative thoughts. If you start out and the kids are all crying, I've been there. Sometimes I've just been like, oh my goodness, what am I going to do? Like with my older kids, I'll be like, Abigail, look at these babies. They won't stop crying, and she works with kids all day too. So she knows how it is. And one of her things is, oh, I can't take these kids anymore. She says that, in a joking way, obviously. But mindset is everything. And we can't be telling ourselves just like, my kids always do this. They're always crying. They're always grumpy. They never do this. They never do that. They never listen. They never obey me. It's really easy to get stuck in the absolutes, even with our husband. Like, he never does this. He never listens. He never looks out for me. He never is romantic. He always does this. He's always nitpicky. He's always mean to me. When we get stuck into this absolute mindset, it's not a good place to be because nothing is absolute. Your husband is not always mean to you. Your husband does do romantic things sometimes. For mine, I pretty much have to tell him, but that's just how he is. Hey, I really feel like I want flowers. Get me flowers. And then he will. Hey, stop and get my favorite snack. And he will. So I just tell him what I want. Hey, I want a coffee. Get me a coffee, and he will. He likes to make me happy, so he'll do those things for me. Or I'll just go get the coffee myself. And it's not a big deal. I don't sit around playing this guessing game, and he doesn't sit around playing this guessing game. If we want something, we tell each other, and if we want it, we get it, and we're fine with each other doing that. It's not a big deal in our home. So, but yeah, stop the negative thoughts. My kids always do this; they never do that. Redirect the kids. This is a big one. I wish parents would stop dying on the hill of every single battle that comes along and just learn this art of redirection. Not everything needs about be a battle with your 2-year old. Not everything needs to be a knockout, drag down fight with your 4-year old. There are some things that I've just loosened my control with, and I've realized it's not worth the fight. Both of my girls dress themselves, most of the time for church and most of the time for every day. Sometimes Hannah will want to wear the same dress 4 days in a row. You know what? I don't care. It's not worth fighting over. It's not a battle that I'm going to stick my stake in the ground and I'm not moving. It's not a big deal. There's some things that are a big deal in our house, though, and that would be lying, disobedience, hitting, different things like that. So that's where I'm going to draw the battle lines. Whereas I'm not in some of these insignificant things, such as what dress she's going to wear, if she's going to wear the same dress 3 days in a row. Fiona thought it was so cute because last week she has this little pink, green, and blue dress that I got off Shein. I originally bought the green dress a year ago, so it's almost too small for Tommy's wedding. And she loved it so much. I ordered the other two just like it in green. And I ordered green, then I ordered pink and blue for her. And I think it's because she's very picky about textures on her skin. Um, she has a lot of sensory things. Like when she gets nervous, she'll bite herself. We have dealt with biting other kids too. That's not really, she doesn't really do that much anymore. But if she's very angry or very upset or nervous, she'll bite like her arm. And she's very picky with how things feel on her skin, different issues like that. So with her clothes, I just let her pick out what she wants. And she usually rotates between those three dresses. But then Fiona got her an Irish dress. And so last Wednesday, she was so funny because she wore her pink dress most of the day. But then when she found out we were going to church, she changed into her Irish dress. And we just both thought that was so super cute. She wanted to wear her Irish dress to church. So that's just an example of some small thing I'm not going to fight over. I'm not going to fight over some days if we're having a bad day. Now, this could go one of both ways. I'm just throwing this out there. Some days, if we're having a bad day, I am a lot more relaxed on the screen time. If I'm super busy and I've got to get things done, they're going to be watching the iPads a little more. They're going to be watching the regular TV more. But then that can also have the opposite effect where sometimes I notice iPads and screen time affecting attitudes. And so I will have to do like a detox. So if it gets to the point where they're freaking out because they can't watch it, they probably need a detox. So I will detox those from those things. So as a mom, you just kind of gotta go with it and feel it. You know your kids better than anyone. So you can kind of tell, okay, they've had too much screen time. It's time to back off a little. But then there's going to be some days where everything's going wrong and you're just going to have to roll with it. And you're going to be like, you know what? I need them to be safe right now while I'm dealing with this problem. So they're going to watch the iPad, and that's fine. You're the mom, you know best. But I'm not one of these people that's like, oh my goodness, like watching Bluey is going to ruin my kid. Or if they watch 2 hours of TV today, they're going to, go down this dark path of sin or something. That's not what determines if a kid's going down a dark path of sin. I'll just put that out there. So, as a mom, give yourself a break. If you have a day where things are just really tough, whether that's mentally, emotionally, physically, stuff's going wrong in the home, you have fires you have to put out figuratively, you have to call a million places about bills or something. I've been on the phone sometimes like 2 hours with the electric company. And the last thing I need is my kid running out the door and running onto the road while I'm dealing with this person from the electric company. So That's where wisdom comes in, and you're like, I need them to sit and be safe right now. They can watch Bluey or watch the iPad or YouTube or whatever. So, um, but yeah, redirect your kids. I wish moms would learn this. Do they need a bath? Do they need to play? Do they need some space? Do they need a hug? Do they need a cuddle? There's all these things you can try before just like going into, I'm going to nip this in the bud and we're going to have this battle and it's going to last an hour and you're going to be exhausted. They're going to be exhausted. There are some times when that's going to need to happen where you will have wills clash, you know, and you will have to deal with it. But it doesn't need to be over every little thing. And I wish moms would realize that. Does not need, it's not, I have to win this battle, or it's not even, I have to make this into a battle and win it. Otherwise, my child will become this deep, deep, like dark pawn of Satan or something. We're way too dramatic. You need to just chill a little, honestly. It'll be fine. Sometimes all they need is a cuddle and for mama to slow down, to pay attention to them, to talk to them, to look in their eyes, to give them a hug, to reassure them it's going to be okay. It's a bad day, but it's okay. Mama's there. Do the bare necessities if needed. Sometimes you just need to keep your kids alive. And the next day you'll do better. You'll get the house cleaned. You'll have a fresh, hot dinner waiting for your husband when he gets home. The kids will be dressed and getting along and presentable, but that day is not today. That's okay. So just do the bare necessities. Keep them fed, take them to the bathroom, keep them alive, ditch the mom guilt. You kept your kids alive, and that's enough for that day. You were putting out a million other fires, doing a million other things, and you were there for your kids, you kept them alive. That's enough. Choose your words carefully when you start having a bad day because words have the power to make a bad day worse or to make a bad day better. Words definitely have that power. And that's with your husband, that's with your kids. Also, kids are going to remember your words. They're going to remember what you told them. And I am not perfect at this. I mess up often. And I have to strive to do better. But words are very, very, very important. Words can cut deep, or words can lift up and build up your child's spirit. So definitely be careful with your words. And then also, ditch the electronics if that's the driving force and attitudes. That being said, like I said, if you have a day where they have more electronics than normal, just because like everything was going wrong, you know, the dog ran away and I don't know, animals got into the garbage, you know, a fox was chasing your chickens, whatever it is. This, I'm all like thinking of things that happened to us. you know, um, if you have a day where they have to watch electronics more, it's not going to ruin them, basically. Now, if your whole life is 12 hours out of the 24, your kids are on the iPad or they're watching TV, you might want to reevaluate when it comes to that. I'm talking about a once in a while day where that happens. So read them a book, read your kids a book, and let the housework sit for a while. The housework will always be there. It's never ending. Laundry is never ending. Just let me let you in on that secret. It doesn't matter how often you do laundry. It doesn't matter if you're caught up with laundry forever. You're never caught up with laundry forever, but it doesn't matter if you're caught up with laundry for the day. It'll be there again tomorrow. So the housework will always be there. Sometimes your kids just need you to be present and they need you to be engaged in whatever is going on in their life. What about when it's a tough day for marriage, though? Because some days are going to be stressful, and um, some days are going to be stressful for like your husband, for you. And as a wife, if your husband has a really stressful day at work, the last thing that you need to do when he first walks in the door is start piling on him, you know, blah, 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 blah. This needs to be done and this needs to be done. And why haven't you done this? And when are you going to pay attention to me? And when are you going to be romantic to me? And you just start nagging him constantly. You would not like it if you had a super stressful day and everything went wrong and your husband comes in, the dinner's not made yet, and he starts demanding, I want my dinner, make me my dinner. Why isn't dinner done? What's wrong with you? What have you been doing all day? The famous last words of any husband, right? What have you been doing all day? So you wouldn't like it if he did that to you. So don't do that to him the instant he walks in the door. Um, don't try to figure out things at midnight. If you've had a bad day, and let's say you do get into a fight, the worst time to fight about that is midnight, 1 o'clock, 2 o'clock. This is something as an experienced wife of 23 years, I have learned. I thought when I got married, the whole let not the sun go down upon thy wrath meant that whatever issue came up, I was going to have to figure out that night. Like whatever happened, we had to figure it out. Well, I have since learned that some of the nastiest things said, some of the things that I regret the most saying, and my husband regrets the most saying, is at 1 o'clock in the morning, 2 o'clock in the morning. Emotions are high. You've lost all filter and every filter. And the truth of the matter is that we remember words, we remember things said, and things are often said in the heat of the moment that aren't even necessarily true. And at that point, you're just trying to hurt each other with your words. It's not good. So I tell all young new brides if you're having an issue, you're having an argument, and it starts getting late, you need to just be like, you know what? We're married. We chose each other. We're still going to be married tomorrow. We're not giving up on this thing. We both know that. So let's go to sleep. And then when we wake up, we'll figure things out. And things always look better in the morning. Always. Things look so worse or seem so much worse in our minds at 1 o'clock in the morning than they do at 8 o'clock after we've had a good night's sleep. So I give all new brides the advice of go to sleep and work on it in the morning. It'll be there in the morning. Um, Late at night, emotions run high. You say things you're going to regret. Just go to bed. Words do hurt. Words have power. Stop trying to hurt your husband with words. And wives are really good about this. We are obviously the weaker in the relationship as far as physically. Most of us, we wouldn't want to physically hurt our husbands. We want to try. We can't physically hurt our husbands, but we will say nasty things to them because words do hurt. And we can either build up our husband with our tongue or we can tear him down with our tongue. And the tongue is a very powerful member, probably the most powerful member of our entire body. We do everything with our tongue. We communicate with our tongue. We speak life or death with our tongue. So be very, very careful with your tongue. Um, there will be days when you are in perfect sync with each other, and that's more often than not with me and my husband. I know him, he knows me. We have our set routine, we have our set schedule, and most often than not we flow very well together. But then there are other days when we're not in sync at all. We barely see each other and things just feel off, it's we just are like hi, hey, and passing, that's it. We're going to have days like that. That's okay. You can reconnect the next day. And that is one piece of advice I try to give to young brides too. Definitely try to reconnect at least once a day. For us, that would be riding in the car to get to the gym, sitting in our hot tub after the kids are in bed for a little bit, watching a movie together at night, talking about theology or doctrine or whatever, because we both like to talk about that with each other. Yes, I realize I'm a wife and a mom, but I still like talking about theology. Okay. And I like talking about doctrine. So thankfully I married someone who is the same, and we like to bounce things off of each other. Um, and then make him the priority over your kids. Get the kids to bed early. I cannot emphasize this enough for couples, mainly because I see our reconnecting every night is always after the kids are in bed, after our day is done, after our chores are done, after his work day is done. And ladies, I'm telling you, I know the O'Hagan saw it when they were here, but he is a man that he doesn't sit still. He's constantly doing something. Um, he works extremely long hours. Oftentimes, he will be gone till 9, 10, 11 at night. Sometimes if he is doing stuff on the internet and if he's doing stuff on the online world, um, or debates or things like that, sometimes he doesn't get home till 11 p.m. So for me, I need to get the babies to bed by 7 or 8, just so, first of all, I have a little bit of time to de-stress before he gets home. If he's home, he'll put the babies to bed. But because we don't have a lot of time, we do definitely have to make sure that we make time to reconnect. And it's very important for both of us. So Make his needs your priority, whether that comes to making what he likes to eat. I'm Of course, I'm hoping he's doing this too for you. But this show isn't for husbands, this show is for wives. So, men, go listen to Spirit of Liberty. Is that what it is? Spirit of Liberty, where he did his series for men's. Yeah, I think that was it. Go listen to that if you want advice from a man's point of view. But this isn't for the husbands. The show is for the wives. So you need to make his needs your priority and then just bite your tongue. If you're both having a bad day, just roll with it. And then at the end of the day, laugh about it. This was a terrible day. This was just a terrible day. And it'll be better the next day. So just roll with it. It'll be fine. Learn to laugh at yourself. It'll be okay. How to be joyful even when it's a bad day. And this is our last points. We have to choose sometimes just to smile. We have to choose to laugh. Sometimes we can either laugh or cry, and we need to choose to smile. We need to choose to laugh. Remember your blessings. You are so blessed in life. If God has given you children, remember your blessings. I know lots of women who write to me, who are in Facebook groups, who can't get pregnant and can't have children. And they're just crying out to the Lord for Him to open their womb. And if you are able to have a lot of children, don't take that for granted. I know life is still hard, and I'm not diminishing the fact that having lots of little kids is hard because I've been there, I've done it. I know it's hard, but being childless is hard too, and being barren is hard. So, whatever blessings you have in your life, you need to remember them, think on them, ponder them. Ponder your blessings more than your hardships, and life will be a lot better. Um, love your children well. They should know that out of anyone on the earth, mom loves them the most. Tell them you love them, kiss them, hug them, cuddle with them. I know it's imperative for Kelly and Hannah that they cuddle with me every single day. And that is how their love tank gets filled. And once I have cuddled with them, they're a lot better. Like they're just more at peace. Their mood's a lot better, but sometimes they just need that cuddle time. Um, Tomorrow is fresh with no mistakes in it yet. Tomorrow is fresh with no mistakes in it. So just remember that. You can wake up and you can do better. If you mess up, wake up and do better. You pick a fight with your husband and you know that's wrong of you, just don't do it again the next day. This isn't a all or nothing type thing. You can try and try and try and try again. And tomorrow is always fresh and no mistakes in it. Slow down and take a nap if you need it. If you are just feeling overwhelmed and you're tired and, just make the kids lay down and you lay down with them. You do mandatory naps for all of you if that's what you need. And then tag team with your husband. There have been often times where I have had a really rough day. And as soon as he walks in the door, I'm like, tag, you're it. I have to go to town. Like, I have to get out. I have to go to town. And a good husband will realize when his wife has reached her limit and he will help out. He'll help her out. Read a passage of the Bible with coffee. I've done that oftentimes in the afternoon, just sat down. Okay, I have to read my Bible and I have to have a cup of coffee right now. And then some other things might slide, but mentally you'll do so much better and you'll be in a better mood and you'll be able to smile at your kids and you'll be able to laugh with your kids and you'll be able to enjoy your kids so much better than if you had not done it. Have an order of priorities, but if it's a rough day where everything goes wrong, you can catch up the next day. And that's kind of me. I kind of have a loose schedule that I follow. It's not anything written down. I don't have a checklist, but I do have priorities. And that would be feeding my family. Some chores have to be done, like the chickens and feeding the animals, cleaning out the litter box, doing the laundry, keeping the kitchen clean. Some things have to be done, but if everything just goes wrong, the dishes will wait till the next day. Some things can't wait, but that can. What about school? So I would say have some absolutes, but the beauty of homeschooling is that you can take off when needed, but it needs to be rare. My kids know that a day off is very rare. And I was talking about it in my members only live stream right before this, kind of talking about loose schedules and different things like that. But I have to be regimented because I teach so many piano students. So because I teach so many piano students, I have to be very firm on us doing school every day and then them doing school from this time to this time because that's what I'm teaching. So I would say though, your kids will pick on they will pick up very early. If I do certain things, mom might call off school. So be very careful, especially in the early years, that you don't just, I stubbed my toe, we're taking the day off. The baby has a cold, we're taking the day off. Whatever that it may be. Also, play godly music. This is a way. Alexa is great for this. We'll say, Alexa, play music from Heartland Bible College or Heartland Baptist College, I think it is. Alexa, play music from Hiles Anderson College because college groups have really good music. So we'll turn music on, and that just seems to uplift the mood, uplift everyone. That'll sometimes turn around a bad day, just having good godly music playing. And then realize that life is imperfect and messy and up and down, and we will always have stress. But stress produces good things. It shows us when we need to fine tune some things and do better. Stress keeps our kids alive, right? Because if we're stressed, that'll because we're some of the times that we're stressed is because we're watching our kids. We're stressed out from having to keep tabs on them to keep them alive, right? So stress does help. It keeps our kids alive. It pushes us to be better people. We need stress in our lives. We do. All of us need stress, but we don't need to let stress control us. We can control our reactions and moods, and we can control if we have a really bad day, it starts out really bad. We can control the atmosphere in a way that we can turn that bad day around. And I've done it before, but I've had to tell myself, Cassandra, you can either let this day get a whole lot worse or you can stop it in its tracks right here. You can have a good attitude going forward. You can change your mindset. You can change the way you're talking to your kids. You can change the way you're talking to your husband. And you can turn this day around because mama does set the tone in the home. If mama's angry and flipping out, it's a very stressful place. If dad's angry and flipping out, it's a very stressful place. But I found more often than not, dad's kind of the easygoing one. Mom's the one freaking out because we have a lot on our plate. We have a lot of stress in our lives. So we let that get to us and then we start freaking out. And that's when, it produces like a bad spirit in the home. So we have the ability, we have the power just through this little member of our body to control the atmosphere, control the tone in our home. And, I do think that a lot of a way a kid turns out or is raised or whatever, I do think a lot of it is dependent on the mother because the mother is with them so often. So if we as moms are constantly belittling our kids and tearing our kids down and, just saying horrible, nasty things to our kids, they're going to turn around and treat others that way. But if we as moms are constantly encouraging our children and, building up our children, hyping up our children, letting them know how much they're loved, they're going to turn around and treat other people like that as well. So, however we raise our kids in whatever environment, they're going to turn around and then treat others the same way. So, we need to be really careful to set a good tone in our home and to have a good environment that our kids are being raised in. And we do have the ability to make a bad day into a better one. And, if you messed up, don't lay in bed just feeling ashamed of yourself and beating yourself up. Just endeavor to do better the next day because we're all works in progress. And sometimes I'll have 2 bad days in a row. And then sometimes I'll have 14 good days in a row. So that's just life. It happens. We went through a period here not too long ago where like everything was breaking down. Like our cars were breaking down. My husband hit a deer and it was out of commission. It was terrible. Like our dryer broke down and our dishwasher broke down and like everything was breaking down. And near the end of those 3 weeks, we were just like laughing at the next thing that broke down because it's like, what can you do? You can't do anything about it. It's just life. Life is hard and life is messy and life is stressful, but we can have a good attitude when dealing with all of these stressors in our life. So I hope that helped. Give me topic suggestions. This was a listener inspired question. So I hope it helps in some little way. I hope you are exhorted and encouraged this week. I hope you love on your children well and love on your husband well. And I hope that God blesses you in every way imaginable. So we will see you guys next week.